What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Bourbon, Buzzed, and Ballin podcast. We are your hosts, Kolby and Dut, and we got a lot to talk about. It's been a minute.
We took a week off, so we haven't even talked about the Super Bowl yet. So I'm sure we'll touch on that tonight, and among other things. But yeah, we got a couple weeks worth of stuff we can talk about, time permitted.
Yeah, I think my list was filling up, and I was having to throw some stuff out and cull some items that I wasn't of great importance,
right.
So we typically like to stick to football convo. I mean, football's king, so I imagine we'll revisit quite a bit. But why don't you jump us off into our toast?
Yeah, let's start out with our opening toast. And that one of my favorite sports movies starred Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson, and they're actually making a remake of it with Jack Harlow and can't remember who's playing with the Wesley Snipes role. But anyway, who says white man can't jump?
Who says it?
They're going to have to rename that movie because Mac McClung just blew that theory out the water.
Yeah, he did.
That was impressive. Now, I didn't watch anything. I didn't even watch the dunk contest. I just caught the highlights.
Right.
But here's a 24-year-old G League player. Got 2 NBA games to his resume. And he goes out there. He performed 4 dunks. Got 3 50s. On the 4th dunk, he got a 49.8. So he was damn near perfect on his 4 dunks, and they were impressive.
Yeah.
And this guy is 6'2". Like I said, he's white, and he's got a 43.5-inch vertical leap.
I thought it was better than 43.
That's what when I looked it up online. That's what I came up with.
Right.
Now
I think the impressive thing about McClung. See, I've been watching McClung for years because I watched his videos, his highlight reels when he was in high school. He went to some small Virginia high school, and he's been dunking on fools forever.
Well, and he even put his high school jersey on, and that was the first clip I saw, and I thought it actually was a high school kid out there doing that dunk.
Yeah, no, he's been on highlight reels for years. I was quite shocked by. I mean, even Shaq didn't even know of Matt McClung.
I'd never heard of him.
I was shocked by that because
I had to look it up. He went to Georgetown and Texas Tech because I don't even remember. It wasn't real. He was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school. So
like I said, he came out of a small school in the mountains in Virginia, so his level of competition was pretty weak. I mean, but if you go watch some of his YouTube videos, he was just dunking on fools.
He is to dunking what the professor is to
dribbling.
Ball handling.
Yeah, handles. Yeah.
It was crazy. I was impressed. Especially that 540 dunk that he did.
Yeah, I was excited when I heard his name mentioned, as in the dunk contest. But I thought he had a better vertical than 43 because, it looks impressive for 6'2".
Yeah, like I said, I Googled it online, and that's what it said. So, it's got to be right. It was on the internet, right?
Yeah, internet never lies, for sure.
So, that was that's who I'm toasting. That was impressive. Good showing by the young man.
Yeah, that was. Good to see it. Good to see an athletic white dude.
But other than that, I think we've talked about it. Why are these leagues wasting our time with these all-star games?
Yeah, no, I guess the money.
I mean, Giannis played 20 seconds,
if that. Enough to make one hoop and check himself out.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Now we'll talk a little bit about the NBA All-Star game once we get into the coming in hot. But I'm gonna toast Tiger.
Okay.
I gotta toast Tiger Woods, man. It sucks what's happened to him physically, but to watch him play this weekend in the Genesis Invitational, which is the first tournament he ever played in professionally. Mm-hmm. So it's near and dear to his heart, and he's the host of that tournament now. But to go in and play in this tournament with as little practices he's had, make the cut, tied for 45th overall. I mean, he knocked out some of the world's best golfers, in the event.
It's a shame what's happened to his body because, he was going to set all the records and go down as the GOAT and, put all the records out of reach. Now I don't. Now he's not even gonna get the majors record.
Yeah, and I don't see that. But watching him this weekend, and to listen to other pros talk about the game that he still has and the excitement that they have to have him back out there, man, I really honestly do think he's got another emotional victory in him. I'm pulling for him, man.
How old's Tiger? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I don't. I want to say he's 45.
Yeah.
44 or 45. But
he's younger than Brady, isn't he?
I don't know, man. I think they're about the same age. Okay. I really do. They're right there. He's right there in the mid-40s.
Yeah. Okay.
His hairline looks like it.
Right.
I don't like it when he takes his hat off. You'd think a man with that kind of money would take care of his hairline a little bit. But anyway, Tiger Woods, that's my toast of the week.
Well, let's add one more because somebody's got a birthday coming up this weekend.
Oh.
Let's just... Dust got him a birthday, and I flew all the way to the Dominican Republic to pick out his birthday present.
He gets a little bourbon. He gets a little BT.
Yeah, the leader.
Oh, that is the big dog, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want to buy some Buffalo Trace or some Blanton's, I know where they got it hid at. It's in the Punta Cana airport in the Dominican Republic.
My best friend goes all the way to Dominican, and all I get is a big, large-ass bottle of BT. Well, I appreciate that.
Take it back
I love it. We've talked about this bourbon. This is a goat. This is a goat in the price range that it is.
That liter was $32.
$32.
$32 for that liter.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
So yeah, we might have to, and I brought back a couple for myself too, and we might have to go ahead and rate that because we hadn't done the Buffalo Trace yet. Yeah, so we might just need to go ahead and rate that next week. This week I got a Peerless small batch that I'd never even seen before, but the bottle was shaped like a bourbon barrel and they had a limited supply, so I thought, man, what the heck, give it a try. So that's what I got waiting for us over there. But let's just go ahead and raise our glasses to Mac and to Tiger and to Dut. Happy birthday. I know it's a couple days early, but happy birthday. Cheers.
Cheers.
Have you already been into bourbon?
I got a little excited about the whole. That's like what is a liter, like 3/5?
No, so basically
like a fifth and a half, isn't it?
No, it's a fifth and a third. A fifth is 750 milliliters, so it'd be another 250 milliliters. So it's 250 milliliters above a fifth.
I'm showing off my lack of mathematical skills.
Well, you did go to Bama. Hey, wait a minute. So did I.
That's true. You must have spent more time in the math department than I did.
That's right. I was trying to figure out how to count that money.
Count that money.
All right, well, that's our... Oh, before we go on to the scumbag, we do like to talk about what we're sipping on this week. I actually chose Bib and Tucker, or as my wife likes to call it, the Bib and Fucker.
Bib and Fucker.
We rated that a 3 out of 4, so it's a good one. Smooth, 92 proof.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a hard one to find.
It is, and it's a good-looking bottle, so it looks good on the shelf. So
that's right.
It's a good one to have in your collection. How about you? What you sipping on?
I'm sipping on the Celebrity Series that we had, the Duke.
John Wayne.
The Duke. Now, I think we rated this one a 3.
That was a 3 as well.
This was a solid 3 for sure.
Yeah, I think we were almost teetering towards the 4.
Yeah, this is one that they put a full effort into a release. It was like aged for what was
7 years?
7 years.
Yeah, that was a 7 year.
So I think we should all look forward to some better bottles out of the Duke.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Let's move on to our scumbags of the week.
Scumbag.
And I know you've got 2 or 3. You want to start with one? You want to bounce back and forth? You want me to do mine?
Yeah, let's bounce back and forth. I'll roll out quick because since I toasted Tiger Woods, I'm gonna slam the various women's group. They're gonna be my scumbags of the week. And I'm not going to name the various women's group, but I mean, what happened on Thursday round? You got I can't even remember all of the guys were playing in his group. It was Tiger, Justin, and Rory.
Okay.
That was a dream threesome
Yeah,
right
exactly.
there, which the announcers were saying, hey, this is really coincidental. These three got paired together, which I'm quite certain Tiger had a little something to do with that. But
Right.
anyway, Rory rips a drive off about 340. Tiger rips off a drive, outdrives Rory.
Mm-hmm.
JT scuffs one up the fairway. Doesn't go very long, and JT's long.
Yeah.
And up the fairway, Tiger Woods hands JT something as they're walking.
Yeah.
Well, they viewed into it, and it was a tampon. he handed JT a tampon, basically, because
Telling him he needs to shoot from the women's tees.
yeah, he's playing from the women's tees, and so some of the ladies groups, got a little upset and a little torqued over that.
I mean,
so.
you can't. Sometimes people just need to lighten up. It was a joke between guys.
It's a joke between guys, and it really isn't a slam at ladies.
I mean, we used to,
It's a natural physiological activity that a woman goes through every month up to a certain age, and he wasn't making light of that time of the month.
No, he was teasing JT for being weak off the tee box.
Yeah, that's
so like I said, it's gotten
this culture's gotten crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my first scumbag.
All right, I'm gonna give one, and I love to prop up my Bama boys when they need propping up, but when they need calling out, I'll call them out also.
We like to think on this podcast we are homers, but we're
fair.
We're fair homers, you know.
Yep. So it came out today that Brandon Miller, the stud freshman guard or small forward on the basketball team, he's finalist for the Julius Erving Award, finalist for the Naismith. I mean, he's a legit top 5 draft pick in next year's NBA draft. Well, going through they've started the Darius Miles trial, and it came out that Darius actually texted Brandon to bring him his gun, to bring Darius's gun.
Right.
So Brandon brings it to Darius. Jaden Bradley was also with him. So
doesn't hand it to him though.
It was in the back. It was in the back seat of his car, and
puts it in his car.
And so Darius gets the gun and gives it to, and I can't remember the other guy's name at this point, but
Mike Davis.
Davis, and gives it to him, and Brandon's just got to use better judgment. He's not going to be charged with any kind of crime. He didn't break any laws. He just
he just brought a weapon, which was just
stupid,
pitiful.
I mean,
judgment.
not good things are going to happen.
Bad judgment.
Don't put yourself in the wrong place at the wrong time situation. As I was doing more research on the story, it was even saying that this Davis dude shot like 8 times into the Jeep, and a couple of bullets actually grazed Brandon Miller's windshield. So I don't know if he was still within, if it was just his car was there, if he was there, or there's still more to come out. But that they have said there's nothing that they can charge him with. But still, he and I know his dad played tight end for Alabama, and his dad's a no nonsense type of guy. So I'm sure they had a come to Jesus meeting. But come on, Brandon, you got your whole life ahead of you.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
You're fixing to be a top 5 lottery pick in the NBA. Don't surround yourself with anything that can take away from what your life is about to become. So,
see your friends, see your future.
That's right. You are the company you keep.
It is, man. That's a true saying.
So yeah,
that sucks, because ultimately, if more comes out, this could potentially derail a fantastic season. We're deep. We're deep.
Oh yeah. I mean, right now we're predicted to be the number 1 overall number 1 seed.
Right.
And then they get to play their first 2 rounds in Birmingham, and then go to Louisville. So I mean, if they can do that, they're going to be in a great position to make their first ever Final Four. So yeah, you don't want this off the court stuff.
Yeah.
But this wasn't, it just came out to the public today. But
Right,
this has
it's
been
exactly.
known and being handled, and they, they're cooperating.
Alabama's been cooperating.
Yes, and so I don't think anything else will come out of it. But just that it's being brought up again now, it's a distraction to him and to the rest of the team.
You can tell he hasn't been as productive lately.
Right.
And I'm wondering, this has been weighing on his mind.
Oh, I'm sure.
For sure.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
This is I don't know Brandon's exact age. I think he's actually an older freshman, like 19 or 20. But still, as a freshman in college, that's a lot to.
It's potentially a life-changing decision he made. Honestly.
Like Darius Miles.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous that these kids would play with their career and their, we're talking about generational money.
Yeah, and freedom.
Yeah, generational money and all they got to do is stay on the right course. It's crazy.
The course, follow that path, and yeah. So yeah, Brandon, you're my scumbag this week, son.
Damn, Brandon. Roll Tide, Brandon. I'm gonna add an ex-Alabama lineman, Javion Cohen.
Okay.
And I'm gonna also throw in an potential Alabama recruit that we were hot on his trails, but Cormani McClain. I don't know, many people know these names or think about these names, but during at the end of the season, Javion Cohen, who was a part-time starter,
he started most of the games at guard.
Yeah, for Alabama on the offensive line. He basically extorted Nick a little bit.
So he was the one that he wanted his girlfriend to get accepted into the law
school, and he wanted a bag of cash to stick around, NIL money to stick around, and Nick told him to hit the road, man, and he ended up transferring to Miami, of all places. Go figure. And then Cormani McClain, he basically was
trying to go to the highest bidder,
telling the highest bidder, give me all your best offers, and that's where I'm going, And Nick told him to hit the road. So, Javion Cohen and Cormani McClain are my scumbags, but I think the NIL and the lack of guidelines, is more so my
scumbag. You can't hardly blame them just for trying to play the.
They're playing the
don't
game.
Hate the player, hate the game.
I know, but it's what we were all worried about with the NIL, and sure enough, we're dealing with it now.
Yeah, they'll have to make some changes. I think they're coming.
They are coming
soon. All right, anybody else you want to?
Yeah, let me add one more scumbag to the list. I'm gonna throw LeBron James, King James, in there. I think it's fitting to throw him in on my scumbag list in the last week or so, where he broke Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring record. But LeBron throwing Russell Westbrook under the bus a number of times in interviews, and basically just saying he was mad at the Lakers for not trading for Kyrie Irving, essentially wanting Russell Westbrook run out of LA, so I thought that was a little unprofessional on his part. I think that was a little unfair to Russ. I'm kind of glad Russell just landed. I think he just landed with the Clippers. Yeah. So he got released by the Jazz. The Jazz bought him out, and so he got signed by the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he got traded to the Jazz. The Jazz bought out his contract,
and then he signed with the Clippers.
The Clippers signed him, and the Clippers are like 9 back in the West. So hopefully, maybe if this helps Russ get over the top,
and he helps them. They play each other. The Lakers and Clippers play each other pretty soon.
They have to.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping. I've never been a huge Westbrook fan. I've always liked him. But his game is always he's just like a tweener, on what he can do and what he does best and what they want him to do. But I'm just hoping maybe that puts him over the top.
Yeah.
The Clippers. But yeah, LeBron James. I don't know. I've lost a lot of respect for LeBron over the past couple of weeks. With this story, with how much he made it about him during the whole breaking of Kareem Abdul's records, stopping of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I realize it was a monumental thing, but at the same time, these are just things that I just don't think MJ does.
Right.
So anyway,
Okay.
that's my scumbags.
All right. Well, we have a lot of scumbags this week.
Well, we've been out for a couple of weeks, so
Right.
we had a little catching up to do.
Yeah, because the LeBron breaking Kareem's record.
Yeah, we should have probably toasted LeBron.
Yeah, I to be honest with you, I forgot about it because it happened while I was gone, and until you just now mentioned it, I wasn't even thinking about it. Although I did, was it Barkley? I think it was Barkley that made the comment that, you can't really compare LeBron and MJ because of the eras. He's basically saying Kareem was the GOAT of his era.
Yeah.
MJ was the GOAT of his era. LeBron is the GOAT of this era. And it made a lot of sense.
It does. Bill Russell before.
Yeah, exactly.
Before
So
Kareem.
because when the game changes, now 3-point shots are more involved. So LeBron's record probably won't stand because you're going to have people that come and shoot nothing but 3-pointers. So to cross over the errors and make comparisons, I thought Chuck made a good point.
Yeah. No, you can't sit here and say LBJ. Is that his initials? LeBron James.
LeBron James.
Can't say that he's not GOAT Junior. I mean, he's clearly great.
Yeah.
And he's clearly cemented his place in history, But to me, a lot of what he's accomplished is just for longevity.
Yeah. Some
And
of the
he's
records.
been very healthy over his career.
Of course, and we said the same thing about Brady, and that goes. That's an aspect of being the GOAT. Also, is to be able to take care of your body and to sustain longer than anybody else can. So, I mean, that to me that is included in the topic,
the discussion.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So. No, I mean, we ultimately will have the LB conversation versus MJ, LJ versus MJ.
I mean, that's what would MJ do if he was playing in today's game?
Well, I mean,
there's hardly any defense.
I've had that discussion. I'm glad you say so. I said he would average 40 plus. If you isolate MJ in today's isolation game, he scores 40 plus.
Well, I mean, I've even heard some of the Charlotte Hornet players recently saying he still schools them one-on-one in practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's 60.
He will be 60.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And smokes probably a box of cigars a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think MJ would. I personally think he would average 40 plus in today's game. But that's just speculation.
Right. All right. Well, let's get off the scumbags and let's come in hot. Of course, also during our downtime, there was a football game played of minor importance.
Yeah.
So, the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. It was actually a very good game.
It was a good
Back
game.
and forth. Somebody's prediction, I don't think, quite hit.
Well, it hit for one half. Man, my predictions were looking pretty strong for a half. But I clearly underestimated Mahomie.
Yeah, well,
and
also
Andy
that
Reid.
and that scoop score.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I
was
actually
a turning point.
I think the biggest prediction I made was I thought the Eagles would easily run the ball on the Chiefs, and I thought because of that, the Eagles would control the game. And even though I did predict the game would be close, but the Eagles, it would almost appear that they never were
challenged.
They were never in danger of losing it.
Right.
And that clearly didn't happen.
Right.
So
well, and I think Jalen was the leading rusher with 70 yards for the Eagles. I don't even think they really attempted enough rushing.
I was a little perplexed with their offensive strategy. I mean, Andy Reid clearly showed why he is going to go down as one of the greatest coaches ever.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it definitely came down. When you see the play McKinnon makes at the end of the game, nobody had to tell him about it because it's been driven into his brain every day in practice. Hey, if we're in this situation, you don't score. You slide. We run out the clock. We win the game. And because at the sports bar I was watching that, there was a lot of novice football fans, and they were like, "What's he doing? What's he doing?"
Right.
So I'm explaining to him, well, if he goes ahead and scores, the Eagles have a chance, and blah blah blah. And so it was a great play. And
Are you claiming not to be a novice?
yeah, I might know a little bit about football.
Just a little.
Yeah. And then you on the other side of it, you got the Eagles fans that are just crucifying Jonathan Gannon. That he's the reason they lost that game, and he sucked as a coach, and of course he's now the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals
right.
because
now you don't
because he is
him.
a very good coach. But the Eagles fans, they just can't. They can never be beat. They got to find some sort of scapegoat that caused them to lose the game.
They are undoubtedly the worst fan base in all of sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna just go ahead and say it's almost all Philly fans.
It is.
It doesn't matter which Philadelphia team we're talking about. And I know I have a lot of Philadelphia native friends that but you guys are the worst, man. Yeah. You are the worst fan base.
Yep.
That's the only thing I hate about our guys being there is
if Brandon hadn't done if the news hadn't come out about what Brandon did this week, the Philly fans probably would have been my scumbag.
Been your scumbag.
Yeah. But,
that would have been well deserved. Well deserved for sure.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side of that, I think you were about to point out that even though we got our Bama boys that we still pull for, even though they're on the Eagles, and they had a good showing. Devontae had 100 yards receiving. Like I said, Jalen 70 yards on the ground, over 300 in the air.
I mean, Jalen could have won MVP even on a losing effort.
Yeah,
he was easily the best player on the field that night.
Right. Yeah, if the Eagles win, it's no doubt he's the MVP.
Statistically speaking.
Right.
I get it. Mahomes is in a whole different atmosphere.
Stat-wise, Mahomes' numbers weren't. I don't even think he threw for 200 yards, but he was very efficient.
No, he was just Mahomes. He was out there on a half an ankle.
But then they got the punt return from Kadarius Toney. They got the scoop score on defense. So it wasn't just.
Yeah, they made the plays in the category that you just can't hardly account for.
Right.
Outside of the special teams.
And that's usually the difference. In a close game, that's usually the difference, and it turned out to be in this case.
Yeah. I'm still in. I'm a little over the shock now, but I just really felt like from top to bottom, 53 men. I thought the Eagles were clearly the better team. But
I still think they had the better roster.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City had the coaching edge.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately, I think, what did it.
Yeah. Yeah, Andy Reid was a beast. I want to talk a little bit about, an ex-Eagle and an ex-Chief, Shady McCoy, LaShawn McCoy. Eric Bieniemy got I guess he wanted out of the Andy Reid shadow, or Andy Reid suggested the move for Eric, because Bieniemy's been flunking out on all these
he's interviewed
head
for
coaching interviews.
every head coaching opening, and he doesn't ever seem to get it. No,
but LaShawn McCoy kind of said a few things that I felt like, I don't know how true they are, but they seem rather truthful to me, because Bieniemy keeps striking out on all these head coaching jobs. But Shady said he wasn't a very special coach. He has zero to do with the passing game. He said in meetings he hardly ever talks. Andy Reid does all the talking and all the coaching, and basically I think. But Andy Reid gives Bieniemy a lot of credit.
He does.
But I think that's just Andy Reid being great.
I think probably where Bieniemy is excelling is that teaching in practice. Because Andy Reid's not able to be with everybody all the time. He's the head coach, and so he's probably right there in Mahomes' ear. So Bieniemy's probably with the wideouts, with the running backs,
Yeah.
doing some of the other things. So yeah, it would be good to see him out on his own and given full reign of some and so he can really show what he's capable of.
Yeah, I think this OC job in Washington's gonna be his make or breaker for sure.
Is he taking that job? Okay, I wasn't sure. I knew there was a lot of talk about it, but I didn't know if anything was official.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Anything else you want to mention about the NFL?
Yeah, well, sticking with the NFL, let's I did want to give local info out on the Carolina Panthers coaching staff. I think Frank Reich has made a lot of additions to the coaching staff. There's a lot of talk in the NFL community on how good his staff is. He brought in Tom Brown from the McVay tree as his OC. Sean Jefferson, wide
He was with the
receiver
Lions,
coach.
wasn't he?
He's been around a few places. Yeah. Josh McCown is his quarterback coach.
See, I've heard his name mentioned as a potential head coach. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? He's going to be like a golden child, just to
McCown?
shoot up. There was talk that he could have went straight from being a player to a head coach, kind of like what they did with Saturday.
Yeah, well, I think him coming in as a QB coach, that's only a stepping stone because with the amount of these guys I'm talking about, I mean, I think they're going to lose some of these guys within the next year or two. Deuce Staley, running back coach, of course the Ajiro Evero DC that everyone's high on as another potential minority head coaching job. He brought in Don Capers, former Panther head coach, and then the big one, D'Angelo Hall, DB coach, assistant DB coach. He's from the rival teams for the Panthers. So good news for Carolina. I think Carolina's on the uptick for sure. The coaching staff is pretty strong. This is quite a difference from the Matt Rule days.
Well, and one that I saw today, I think it just
oh
happened
yeah,
today,
I didn't mention that
Caldwell.
one. Yeah, Jim Caldwell is going to be like the assistant head coach, basically Reich's mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because he was the head coach at the Colts.
Yeah,
when they hired Reich. So yeah, Reich
seems to be
really high on
pulling all the right strings. I mean, Tom Brown is a minority coach as well. So there's a lot. There's a lot of minority coaches on this staff that I think have an upward trajectory that I think could ultimately.
Right.
I just really feel good about. I just feel real good about Teppers, the owner, the money he's spent, and Reich, and the amount of guys that he's brought in to round this staff out. I mean, I really think
it's a good looking staff.
A lot of potential.
It's a good looking staff, and I've mentioned it before. I'm a Reich fan. I think he's a good coach.
Yeah, for those of you that have given up on your PSLs, I think you might have missed out because I think the Panthers are definitely on the rise.
A quarterback away.
That's it. That's it for the NFL. I mean,
All right. How about college football came out, I think yesterday, that they're wanting to speed games up. So they're looking at 4 potential rule changes that would help. Because I didn't even realize it, but the college game takes longer than a pro game does.
Yeah, by about 30 minutes or so.
Yeah. And so one of the big reasons is because they stop the clock after every first down.
Right.
So that's one of the rule proposals is, let's, except in the final 2 minutes of each half, let's keep the clock running. And I always thought that was a dumb rule that they stop the clock. So that was one rule change proposal. The other one is to after an incomplete pass, once they place the ball, wind the clock.
Yeah.
That one, I don't know if I like that one.
I mean,
an incomplete pass, the clock's supposed to stop. But
overall, I mean, well, go ahead and I'll let you finish.
And then another one's no back-to-back timeouts.
Yeah,
which I wish they would do that because I hate that.
I don't like the ice and the kicker thing.
And then the no untimed downs.
Nah, that doesn't matter to me.
I mean, if there's a penalty at the end of the first half, roll it over into the second. I mean, into the
First
first
quarter,
quarter.
yeah.
Roll it into the second quarter,
quarter.
and let's carry
Same
on.
with the third quarter.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So obviously you can't do it at the half or at the end of the game. You would have to have it time down.
I guess my biggest thing is why. Why are we trying to screw around with that college game that is so good and try to mirror more of the pro game? It seems to me they're trying to mirror the pro game a little bit more, but that's what I like about my Saturdays and my Sundays. I like them to be different. I like the 1 foot inbounds for college, the 2 foot inbounds for pro.
I think part of it was always because there was a big gap between what these athletes could do at the college level versus what they could do at the pro level, like the 1 foot in. But now you got these athletes coming out of high school that look like grown men.
They are.
And I think, you can, change it to where they have to get both feet in now. Or, I would rather see if they're going to speed these games up, let's figure out how to not have every other play reviewed.
Yeah,
That's where you lose a lot of time.
Yeah, they can do something with the review, start to make it a little bit more robotic, I guess.
Use some modern technology.
Some infrared across the goal line. I mean, there's so many things that, if we can blow up countries from 4,000 miles away, clearly we ought to be able to have an infrared line, across the goal line and a chip in the ball. It seems easy to me, but
of course, really, of these proposed rule changes, really the only one that kind of takes away from what college football has always been is if they were to do away with the stopping the clock on first downs. The back-to-back timeouts, I'm all for that because I hate when you can't take them to the locker room with you. You might as well use all three of them to ice the kicker at the end of the first half, and that's just stupid. So that one I
heard today. I was reading something, and I can't remember who to cite or give credit to, but he was suggesting that we just cut out one commercial every commercial break.
Yeah, or shorten them.
Yeah, if you do that, you basically cut the game down to 3 hours. You've done everything without. But I know.
But then you're cutting that money out.
It's all about the money.
That's what it's about.
Basically, that's what it's boiled down to.
Of course, if you speed the game up, then you're going to have less commercial breaks.
Yeah, it made perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Cut one commercial out.
Well, what do you think about if they didn't stop the clock for first downs except the last 2 minutes?
I think the first two to me are I don't like them. I think they're definitely the most controversial of the changes.
Yeah. I don't like the incomplete pass one. I don't
like that one either. And I guess I could if I had to rest on one of these that I just would fight over. It would be the running clock after an incomplete pass. Yeah. Just because I think that is vital at the end of the game. But at the same time, the running clock after a first down, that's pretty vital too in the college game until the last two.
Right now, and they're saying neither one of those would change. They would keep it the way it is now in the last 2 minutes of each half.
Right.
Because sometimes you throw an incomplete pass deliberately to stop the clock.
Sure.
So you got to have that rule. So I'd probably be okay with any of them.
I don't necessarily think our vote's going to count. So I think we just gotta. I just don't like the whole idea that we have to change the college game because the college game. The whole college football experience. I've never once gone to a college game in the last 5 years and thought, man, this is just too long. Mm-hmm. It's never enough for me.
Right.
Of course, we're cherry picking and going to certain games, but at the same time, I watch different games.
Now, the only thing that bothers me about college football and basketball is the network doesn't allow enough time between the games that you got to start watching your game on a different channel. While the game before you is still being finished.
Especially in basketball.
Yeah, basketball is the worst. Because they only allow 2 hours. And it's every game. You got to watch the first 15, 30 minutes on on the app or whatever, and you're scrambling around trying to find it. And so, yeah, they need to allow more time in between games.
Yep.
But, all right, what else you got?
That's it off of college football. I mean, I didn't really want to get too much into. I figured we were discussing our way too early top 25, any more recruiting news.
Yeah.
I think the last real point I wanted to make, well, college wise, was Bama, Houston, Kansas, and Purdue clearly are in the run for the number one seeds.
Right.
But I think a bigger, especially locally on our podcast, would be the UNC is almost played their way out of the tournament altogether. I mean, might as well start booking your trip to the NIT.
Yeah.
It's amazing how UNC went from number one in the country preseason to not even making the tournament. And I mean, once you actually analyze their season and start thinking about, like last year, they were 8th seed in the big tournament, and they just caught fire.
Right.
And then they rode off the heels of that into the preseason number one because they returned a large portion of their roster, but masked in all of that was their inability to shoot. And so that's kind of come to the forefront.
And I feel like they kept thinking, all right, we're going to get hot. We're going to get hot. We're going to get hot. And it just has not happened.
Well, the ACC, has not allowed it to happen because, NC State's gotten better. Miami's gotten better. I mean, Virginia Tech. I mean, there's a number of schools that have gotten really good that have just kept UNC from maybe catching that role.
Yep.
Arkansas, Auburn, all on the bubble. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think, we ought to dedicate part of the show maybe next week to, maybe in the next couple of weeks to the March Madness.
Yeah, because it's right around the corner.
It is right around the corner.
Yeah, and then, you got baseball's starting to heat up, or not heat up, but, pitchers and catchers.
reported
so
last week.
So spring training starting to roll around, and you got the NHL trade deadlines coming up the first week of March. So there'll be some non-football related topics for us to talk about in the coming weeks.
Oh, and newsflash, Zion Williamson, he's out again.
Oh, you don't say.
He's out.
I think the newsflash would be Zion's playing tonight.
Zion's playing tonight.
That's sad because that kid is unbelievable talent.
Such an athlete. And, but what about that All-Star game, man? I mean, I watched it. I watched the first quarter, and I just couldn't watch it anymore. It wasn't even worthy of like street ball. I mean, it was just like, here score, here dunk, here lay up.
I don't get it. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I didn't watch any of the the NFL Pro Bowl flag football or skills competition, or I didn't watch any of the NBA stuff this weekend. I didn't even watch the NHL, which is a little bit, but it's still not that competitive.
It's different, with the 3-on-3, but I did watch a good bit of the NHL All-Star, but I think the money is clearly changed the different leagues' approaches to these All-Star games, the players' approaches to these All-Star games. Back in the day, at the NFL All-Pro game, that was a big part of their salary.
Yeah.
Was the money they won.
And it was a trip to Hawaii. So, I mean,
exactly.
There was at least a little incentive. And, a few years back when the baseball All-Star game was for home field advantage in the World Series. So there was a little bit something to play for, but it's still...
Yeah.
They just need to do away with all those games, in my opinion.
Yep.
All right. Well, you got anything else you want to bring up, or are you ready to head over to the bar?
I'm always ready to head over to the bar. It's time to go over there and drink a little bit.
Yeah, I got a Peerless small batch over there, and we'll go over there and we'll taste it, and then we'll Rate that shit. See you at the bar.
Cheers.